This is Catan, console edition. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So what are we getting here? It's a 4K resolution at 60 FPS. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much because you're playing a board. It's just a board. There's water that moves. It's really straightforward. It's Catan. You can play it alone, or you can play it with up to 4 players locally, up to 4 players online. There's crossplay. And yeah, it's Catan. So the general goal of the game is to get enough points by creating, like, say, certain buildings. Oh, we're already getting to the robber. And creating roads and everything like that. You also have this interesting dynamic where you can kind of use this robber type character depending on certain cards or certain things that pop up that will allow you to kind of take resources from others. So that's kind of a big part of the game is the whole resource taking and playing and construction element. You can get something like the longest road will give you extra bonus points, or creating things such as these little houses, or these, it's all about points. It's all about using the things in your hand in order to build stuff. So settlements, cities, and then, you can also get development cards. So that's, again, kind of what the game is. And you also use elements of trading. So I've got 2 wood, and what I really need is, kind of some bricks or something like that, so you can create a trade with someone. So I can be like, hey, I've got 1 wood, somebody got a block for me, and then you see if any of the AI is interested. They never are, because they never want you to be able to build your roads, which hurts my feelings a lot. Let's see if we can maybe get ourselves a sheep. No, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and skip my turn, then go on to the next one. So, yeah, it's a game of, back and forth play. I have noticed that it does seem like there might be, like, a couple little things here or there bug-wise. Like, you have to go to the setup game. If you kind of go, do I have lots of wheat. I don't need any more wheat. So if you kind of go and you click quick play, for whatever reason, it just sets up 2 players, and I can't seem to turn that off. But if you go to setup play, you can properly set up AI to play against yourself. Because I was sitting there, and it was like, it seemed like the game was kind of like locked, and it wasn't letting me play. But then I kind of noticed, hey, it's actually, if I'm just picking quick play, haha. I was ending up with, like, literally 2 players in the game, even though I didn't set it up for 2 players. So I'm thinking that's a bit of a weird issue. So development cards will also change up the game a little bit too when you get them. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind, that if you go to customize the settings, then you're able to properly set up your game if you want to play by yourself and everything like that. So it is a little odd that that is the case, and I've heard some mixed elements about the online multiplayer, so I don't really, I wasn't able to really join matches to do that kind of setup, but that is something to keep in mind. But so far, I've been able to, kind of create and build and jump in and play and see what the game has to offer, and it is very much Catan. I mean, it is, a very, very straightforward sort of thing that I don't think is too hard for people to pick up. But there is a lot of elements and strategy to it. The game does have a tutorial when you first start that you can choose to play. Or if you need to brush up, you can press start and you can go and read the almanac and have the rules of the game provided to you, so you can learn about building and tactics and everything like that. So there you go. That will kind of teach you things if you are having any issues. With the custom setup, you are also able to very easily kind of create a scenario of, like, custom dice and custom character thing. I don't really care too much. I just wanted to jump in and play. And your game time will vary based on, the particular scenario, the particular setup that is available within the game. So, like, you know, if you're playing against AI, it'll take probably, you know, it'll probably be a pretty straightforward playtime that's consistent enough. If you're playing against other real players, obviously there's going to be a lot more variables in that regard. So that's just kind of game time length. It very much is Catan, and I think they've done a nice job of having like a pretty straightforward board. One wood for one rock. Sure. So, like, the board itself, you know, it's got a nice level of detail. There's, like, you know, you can see the wheat, you can see the different tiles, the little hexagonal spaces, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So, you know, it's a good representation, I think, of the game. Pretty clearly represented from the board experience into the virtual world. It's got some subtle but nice effects. I think, you know, it's a pretty good sort of setup here, so I kind of want to get towards either building a better house option or building an additional house option. So let's see if we can kind of push to get that building going. So we want to have a settlement, which means you need to have those 4 options, and I actually traded away my wood in order to get a rock, because that would be nice towards building a city if I could eventually get to that point. So let's see if anybody might be interested in trading a wheat, or say a sheep. I guess sheep are very valuable in this particular situation. Do I have development cards? Nope, because you gotta really buy those. But anyways, it's an interesting game of dynamics and choices. It has a lot of strategy to it. It is pretty well beloved, I would say. It's not necessarily a board game that I sit here and, you know, play a whole lot of. You know, I wouldn't say I'm like a masterfully well-versed Catan player, but, you know, I think this is a decent representation of what Catan is. I mean, it's easygoing, it's easy to play, it's hard to kind of do a review and talk about, because the game itself is very straightforward. I mean, you're, you know, collecting items, you're using strategy and your resources in order to build and expand your empire. It's, yeah. It's Catan. I mean, what are you doing? You're here to thrive, you're here to survive, you're here to build. It's got a bunch of different features. For the most part, once you get everything set up and going, you know, it's a pretty straightforward, easygoing game. And you kind of master it in your own way if you're something, you know, if you find that interesting. So either you're going to be really into it and play a lot of it, or you're going to be so-so. But it depends on if you're interested in playing Catan in a virtual way. That will determine how into this game you are and the enjoyment you have of it.